welcoming to the Ray Carr Show Don Most, actor, singer extraordinaire. Don, welcome to the show. But let's get into music. You're such an accomplished singer. Let's delve into that. I listened to your songs. They sent me 3 of them. I loved them.
Oh, great.
Well, the song I really, really liked that you did was Let's Fall in Love.
Oh, yeah, that was really fun, different approach, a little bit of the Latin cha-cha feel or something, and it was a cool, definitely a cool arrangement, and a little different way to do it, and it was fun doing. What were the other 2 she sent?
Let me look here on my computer. We have I Got It Bad and Tender Trap.
Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I definitely want you to hear the whole CD, because there's a lot of great stuff on there, I think. Especially, I tell people who I know, I encourage them to listen to it from the first song and then go through the whole, if they have 35 minutes, just listen to it all the way through, because I really like this. We spent a lot of time getting the sequence, the order of the songs and the variety and the way it flows, So I look forward to you getting it and checking that out.
Oh, yeah, good. I've loved everything you've done so far, and really, it's your voice is it's crystal clear, and the music flows beautifully. It's just a great sound.
Oh, great to hear that. Thank you so much.
And I've listened to a lot of these, the Michael Bublé, Seth MacFarlane's, and all that, but you have a unique quality all to your own that is it resonates through the music, like you're almost like grabbing the listener and bringing them into the CD or the computer. I love that.
That's great. I love to hear that. That's wonderful. It's weird. It's become an evolving thing. This whole music thing for me. I mean, I did it when I was very young, and then I put it aside for a long time and dabbled in it here and there. Went doing some musical theater and some personal appearances. Just isolated a song here and a song there, but nothing like what I'm doing now. And it's really taking on a life of its own. And some of it I can't even explain. But I think it's been a lifetime of listening to so many of the greats. And somehow, through osmosis, sort of integrating and in a subconscious way, picking up, it was an education, obviously, and some weird alchemy, blending styles from different people without doing it consciously, or and then mixing it with who you are, and then it comes out as something that's sort of original to you. And that seems to be it's like a process that is a bit of a mystery, but I'm just going along. I'm going to continue it because I feel like I'm improving and getting better and better, and I just want to see how far I can take it.
Don Most, our special guest. Don is an accomplished actor, of course, in Happy Days and many other TV shows. But right now we're talking about his brand new album. Don, what is the name of the album?
Yeah, it's called D Most, Mostly Swinging. And it definitely swings. I think, there's some of the top L.A. jazz musicians on there, this great 17-piece band, and in some cases bigger when strings are in some of the songs, and a wonderful arranger, producer named Willie Murillo, who because I put a lot of emphasis on the arrangements, and to me, I was always very aware of songs when it was a particularly great arrangement, and I would see who did it. I was always into that, even when I was young. So I really wanted to make sure that the arrangements were just right, and Willie Murillo was fantastic. We talked a lot about them, and then I just let him go because he's so good. And so I'm really happy with the way that came out, and boy, it does swing. And then there's some beautiful there's songs that are some of the ballads that are mixed in there. So that's why it's mostly swinging, not all swing. And but it was such a joy to get in there and work with these kinds of people and these songs, and it was a dream come true.
Don, what about the arrangements? What are you looking for when a song is, this composer does this arrangement, this composer does that arrangement? What are you looking for? What kind of arrangement style do you enjoy the most?
Well, I guess, when for an album of swing, which is what it mainly is, I'm not musically trained enough to say, to give you the description in the proper technical terms, but all I know is, I can hear the when it swings, I could hear when there's some interesting harmonies and different sort of counter lines, voicings that are going on with the brass, that are going sort of not against the melody, but sort of a counterpoint to it, and in a way that's interesting and rich and a little bit complex, but not so complex to the point where it loses the feel. It's all got to be in that pocket for the swing to work, and great writers know how to do that. And I know it when I hear it, and sometimes when I'll be talking to Willie, when we're talking about the approach, I'll show him from other versions of certain sections of what I love, and to give him an idea of the sounds that I love and the feeling that I love, and then he can take that and and make it new and fresh and sometimes more modern, because some of the arrangements that I might be playing for him might be from 40, 50 years ago, and he can bring some more modern voicings to it, but still keep the feel and the integrity of it, of what I love,
What do you want a younger modern audience to take away from this, and how do you reach a younger audience? Because the older people are going to love it because they love that style of music.
Yeah.
But you want to incorporate maybe a new audience of maybe the millennials and a little before the millennials. How do you draw them into it?
That's a good question. I mean, that's something that I'm facing now and trying to figure out. I do know that when young people come to some of the shows, they love the music. They just love it, and they feel like they've discovered something brand new, and they get very excited. And it's a great thrill for me to see that when they're exposed to it properly, they're going to love it. Anybody will when the music is that infectious and exciting. And I think I did a duet on the CD with a great singer, a younger singer, Becky Martin, and maybe I might have to do some more duets, kind of like what Tony Bennett did with Lady Gaga. Maybe performing with some other people that have a younger audience, and then they get to be exposed to this music. That's certainly a try and true way of doing it. And I think by doing songs in a way that are exciting. I did a show at a club in L.A. called the Cicada Club, and it mainly gets a lot of big, like big bands and swing bands, and they have a dance floor, and there were all these great swing dancers there, young ones that were just having an incredible time out there doing swing dancing to our stuff. So, I have to just make sure the music is great and hopefully get it out on the radio and people become aware of it more and more, and then play more live dates, and I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out as I'm going.
Well, because you mentioned that Tony Bennett did a duet with Lady Gaga, or whole CD of that. Listening to your style of singing, who do you feel comfortable singing with, or who would you like to sing with?
I don't know. I mean, from that younger generation, I mean, somebody like Alicia Keys, I think would be great. Nora Jones. Gosh, I mean, somebody like Nora Jones would be great.
Adele.
Obviously Diana Krall, but she's she's established in that vein. I had the great pleasure of singing. I went to see a show of this a female jazz singer that I admire very much, and she brought me up to do a song with her. Her name's Jane Monheit, and I think she's terrific. But she's not necessarily, of a much younger generation. She's younger than me, but I love, I would love singing with all different kinds of people. But a few of the ones I talked about, I think, those are the ones that come to mind, and I'm sure there's probably, 40 or 50 other great ones that could be up there.
Don, when you look at the big band era of music, and there are so many artists like the Benny Goodmans, the Glenn Millers, the Artie Shaws, those people, who do you think really resonates the most with you? I mean, out of all those great big bands.
Yeah, well, from back then, the ones that probably resonated most for me would be Count Basie, Duke Ellington, and maybe, even some of Lionel Hampton's stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the ones that really, I just, when I listen to it, some of their stuff today, it just still holds up incredibly well and influenced me more than, sure, I like, all the ones you mentioned, but it was Basie and his great vocalist Joe Williams, and before that Jimmy Rushing, and those kind of, it was a little bit more on the, I guess, a little more on the jazzier side, and that was the slant that worked, that really hit me, and it was the jazz greats, but then big bands later on. I used to be a big fan of going to see Buddy Rich and his big band.
Oh, Buddy Rich, yeah, definitely.
And Buddy started with Tommy Dorsey, but I saw Buddy in the like early 70s and mid 70s and late 70s, and there was nothing as exciting as seeing Buddy with a big band. Oh my God, it was unbelievable.
Well, Buddy was he was really driven. He was the kind of guy that if you didn't do things Buddy's way, you weren't going to get along with him. So he was really driven, and he knew exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, I heard stories about him. He could be tough. He was a tough leader, a little bit of a, to the nth degree, I guess. There's a lot of stories about that, but nobody could play like he could. Boy, he was amazing, and when he was driving a big band that was this tight, with great musicians that were incredible, that played it so impeccably and tight, and with Buddy being the steam engine behind it, it was a thing to behold. Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. But, today's music, as we know, we've talked about this in the past, things have gone really in a different direction that I'm sure, I don't understand, and I know a lot of other people my age don't. And it's so refreshing to have a talented young man like yourself bring back the music that I can relate to.
Yeah, this music has come back in a really good way for a reason, and that's because it's great. It's great music, and with lyrics that are so at times witty, other times poignant and beautiful, and they tell a story, and then the music is, it was just some great melodies and just they stand the test of time. That's why people are doing them they were written 70, 80, 90 years ago, some of these songs, and people are still doing them and bringing something fresh to them. And great music is great music, and I'm hearing from a lot of more people that they're telling me like their kids are really digging this music, and they've been hearing it on certain stations, and they're becoming fans, and so I that's really exciting to me, and I'm so happy to hear that, and I want to keep spreading the word, so to speak.
Don, where can the people get your music?
They can go to iTunes and download the album, Mostly Swinging, or it's also the CD you can get on Amazon. So it's other outlets, I'm sure, but those are the two that are the big ones that I know of. And it's pretty easy, it's unbelievably easy these days to get it. You don't have to, there aren't too many stores to go thumbing through unless you're looking, I guess, at vinyl, which is sort of having a resurgence, which is cool.
Oh, it's amazing. There's a lot of people at the radio station that just love vinyl, and I'm not opposed to it. I mean, I grew up with it, but it's when you're doing parties and traveling around, it's so much easier. Yeah.
It's great for at home, and you want to listen to it, and the sound is different, and I guess some people argue it's a little fuller sound than the digital. So it's great when you're at home, but you're right, for entertaining or traveling, there's nothing that's as easy as putting your earphones in your phone and listening to stuff.
Don Moster, special guest here on the Ray Carr Show. Don, I would be remiss if I just didn't talk about your acting career too, because that's a very important part of your life. And
oh yes.
And obviously, many people that I know grew up watching Happy Days, and that was a great role for you, and I thought you played the role as well as anybody could have ever played it. And maybe just reflect a little bit about the years of Happy Days and the people you work with.
Sure. God, it was an amazing time for me. I feel incredibly blessed and fortunate to have been able to work with such an incredible group of people. Behind the camera and in front of the camera. Ron Howard was someone that by the time, when I started working with him, he had already been doing it for since he was 3, so he'd been doing it for 17 years, and he was a big star, and what a wonderful guy, what a wonderful talent, and somebody who set the tone for us with his his stability and his how grounded a guy he is, and then people like Tom Bosley, who was a wonderful talent, and all great people, Henry Winkler and Anson Williams, and Anson and I are still really great friends. I mean, we were all friends, but Anson and I are probably even tighter now than we were back then, which is great.
And he's a singer too.
Yeah, Anson had a musical theater background, and so he had talked to Gary early on about letting us form a band, and he told him he could sing and all that. So that's how that started, and then and I had been singing before I was acting when I was pretty young. So I went to Gary at a certain point and said, hey, I could contribute too, because I'm a singer and da da da. But Gary was very, he was very adamant that he already had established Potsy as the singer, and he didn't, and my character was sort of, had his own little niche, and he didn't want to mess with it. So I didn't really get to do much singing on the show, once in a while, but that was okay, because the music that I really loved. I mean, there was some stuff from the 50s that were great that I loved, but it wasn't in my wheelhouse like the jazz standards are, and the Great American Songbook, and even I even do a lot of some blues too, like jump blues and
the Louis Jordan stuff.
Yeah. There's some stuff in my live act. It's not really on this CD, but I'm hoping to do some more of that. But jump blues, like Louis Jordan did, or Louis Prima, and some of bass, like Jimmy Rushing did with Basie, and all that kind of stuff, and some good blues in general. So I like all of that, and we'll see. I'm going to try to record a little bit more in that vein on the next CD, whenever that is. I don't know when, but at some point.
Well, yeah, I can't wait for that. Don Moster, special guest here on the Ray Carr Show. Don, will you be touring the country?
Yeah, I don't have a like a crazy, insane tour setup or anything like that yet. Maybe that will happen soon, but I'm doing it. I'm going to. My next show is May 7th in New York, in Long Island, New York, the Patchogue Theater in Patchogue, New York, and then May 12th in Bradford, Pennsylvania, at the Bromley Theater, and May 13th in Philadelphia at the Raz Room. And then there's some more dates coming up that we're lining up for June right now. But those are the next 3 shows in May. And then I've been in a lot of other cities over the last few years, and I'm hoping to do a lot more of that because I'm enjoying it very much.
Well, I think if you were able to come to Cleveland, I think it would be a highly successful show. At least me and a lot of other people would love to come and watch you do your thing.
Oh, that'd be great. I hope to get there soon.
Amazing talent, Don, and I really appreciate the time you've given us here in Cleveland, and I wish you always the best of success.
Thank you so much, Ray. It's good talking to you again, and I'll send you the CD. I want you to have it, and so you can play some of it.
I will absolutely do that, Don, and hopefully we'll be able to speak again.
I hope so too. Thanks again.
All right. Have a nice day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.